back again. Normally I'm not in my office, but why not? Anyways, I was thinking about fine lines, and it was actually I did a podcast with Ariel Martin. You may want to check that out. Gold Medal Mindset podcast with Ariel Martin, and we were talking about safety, and I think I said something like, it's a fine line between comfort and safety. And I was talking about my elbow pads and knee pads that I used to wear. Or maybe we were talking about it offline. But anyways, and it got me thinking that that's probably true in a lot of areas of life and business. So I started thinking about some other areas where they're gray, fine lines. So comfort and safety with pads, knee pads, bicycle racing, skateboarding, whatever. Yeah, it seemed like the safer the pads were, the less comfortable they were back in the day. And so I had to learn to kind of push the envelope on both sides to deal with that in order to do better or gain more comfort. But the main thing is moving forward in other areas, not just knee pads, because we all like our comfort, we all like our safety, is when I talk to people, I ask them if they're being hard on themselves or they beat themselves up. Are you being hard on yourself or are you beating yourself up? So it's been my experience that the successful people who are hard on themselves do not always beat themselves up. And generally when they do beat themselves up, it's over something that they know better, meaning they knew better than not to make that mistake. I always say you only know what you know. So if you don't know something, it's not necessarily your fault. However, once you find out, well then, that's a different thing. See people joining on. We have Bill, we have Nanny. Thanks a lot. And, in this theory or in this concept of fine lines, learning to live in the gray areas or navigate or be in the gray areas, the last thing I wanted to talk about was getting paid versus making money. And this one I'm learning as well. I like getting paid. I think most people like to get paid. And as a professional athlete, as a speaker, I'm a hired gun, so to speak. So I go in there, I do my job, and I get paid. But again, in the world of entrepreneurship, the way the world is working, the way business is moving, it seems like getting paid is not necessarily enough. It's really a difference between making money and getting paid, meaning you can do something, provide a service of great value, and get paid for it. However, are you really making money? For instance, in my speaking, in my racing from back in the day, I needed to be there to race, to get paid. I need to speak in order to get paid for that service rendered. An hourly job, you have to show up. You trade your time for money. Now, when it comes to making money, that's not always the case. And I like to think of the person who owns apartment buildings and collects rent. I like to think of a person like Steve Jobs or Tony Robbins possibly, or someone who has something and doesn't necessarily need to be there for that product or that service to be rendered, tendered, and paid for. Essentially, making money versus getting paid. And these are fine lines. I'm really just drawing distinctions. This is one of the tricks of the trade that I learned, that I do with my clients, because we like to be very clear with our wording and our language. We like to be specific when it comes to these things. Why? Because the brain, being the brain, likes specificity, excuse me. And the clearer we can use our language and the clearer the vision is in our head, the easier it is for our brains to go to work to getting it. So I'm not here to tell you whether you should choose safety or comfort. I'm not here to tell you whether you should choose being hard on yourself versus beating yourself up, although I would lean towards being hard on yourself versus beating yourself up. I'm not even here to tell you whether getting paid or making money is the right choice. Sometimes it's not an either or. I am here to tell you that the way you look at it, the perception of it, the language you use about it affects your outcomes. That's it. So that's my word for today, at least right now. This quick little break, having a little coffee as I'm talking. And I do thank you for joining. And if you want to get a hold of me, you know how to do it. You can private message me here or Instagram. Let's take the conversation there. Instagram seems to be a little bit more fun than Twitter lately. Although, either way, at real DRjRICH, and then of course my website, DRJasonRichardson.com. That's DRJasonRichardson.com. Leave a comment, post. Like to get your thoughts. Also, as it pertains to the Gold Medal Mindset podcast, if you have any ideas or anyone who you think should be a guest, tag them in here or put them in touch with me, because I love great stories about great people doing great things in life. That's it. So several calls to action. And of course, bringing me in to speak, which is a riot. It's my absolute calling, and I'd love to come in there and charge up your team, motivate them, and give them the skill set, tool set to achieve your dreams. Take care. We'll see you.